Welcome to the Depths of Motherhood podcast. I'm your host, Danielle. In season 8, we're exploring what it means to reweave the village, to return to connection after generations of being told we have to do it alone. And truthfully, I'm still finding my way too. Like many of us, I'm saying yes to a new way, learning to notice my old patterns of survival and finding my way back to a life that aligns with the heart. I hope that each episode feels like you're sitting around the fire with a group of friends in raw, honest conversations. I'd love for you to get involved in this season, so please write below in the chat or come to join us on our social media page. And if you go to the show notes, you're going to find my newly released book, Reclaiming Circle, a guide to holding women's circles. Thank you so much for being here, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what comes through in this season. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I want to say sorry for the delay on these episodes. I know I started off this season really optimistic and saying I'm going to release an episode every week, and it just hasn't happened. And so I sat with this and wondered why. I didn't feel like I wanted to end the podcast altogether, but something had to shift. And to create these episodes, it takes a lot of planning. And then it takes the recording, trying to get a house that is quiet, trying to be in a state where I can record and not have to edit so much. And then afterwards, I have to put it all together, the intro, the outro, upload it onto the platform I'm using. And I think all that part just really was putting me off. So I'm trying to simplify, and I want to come from a place of almost like you're getting a WhatsApp message, a voice message from your friend. I don't know if any of you do that, but I have at least 4 sisters who, so one of them blood, the other soul sisters, who we back and forth all the time through voice messages. And it works because finding time to schedule moments together on a call seems to be really tricky, especially because I'm usually in a different country and we have to work with the time zones. But yeah, so I just want to show up here as a mother, as a friend, as someone who's trying to figure this out. And this episode, this season is all about the great reweaving. And I've already released some episodes with this, some solo, some with guests. And I'm just going to keep flowing with what's coming through. And I've noticed that the more I plan what episodes I'm going to do, the harder it is because it's really not aligned with what I'm tracking and processing and talking about. So I'm going to go from this point of what is alive for me. And I'd love to know if you can notice a difference. I'd love to connect to more of you as well. We have the comment section there. We have the social media. I really want to get to know some of you. So please reach out. And this episode is to complement what is happening this Thursday in our private women's circle. You might have missed that depending on when you're listening to this conversation, but we will meet at 1 p.m. EST. And this will be a gathering for 60 minutes where we come and share a guided practice. We sit with some reflection questions, and then we come and see if anything wants to come through in that space, anything wants to be seen or witnessed. And it's a really beautiful space. And we also offer the recording as well. When I say we, I mean I, but we are creating this together. I will send out the recording to you. So if you go to the show notes, you're going to see a link for this. And all you have to do is pop your email address in, and I'll send out an email every week with the Zoom link and then the recording. And this week, as I mentioned, this episode is complementing the topic, which is about exhaustion. And so we're going to feel into depletion and feel into replenishment and how we can move towards that. So let us move into this topic together, wherever you are in the world. Try to call your energy home with the next inhales. You might say in your mind, as you breathe in, calling my energy home, welcoming myself back. You might be juggling a number of things right now, or maybe you're taking a walk, whatever you're doing. Just let them inhale breaths, call your energy back home to replenish you. Today, we're going to be talking about exhaustion. And the reason this is alive for me right now is because with this great reweaving, as we come back to one another, as we show up with other human beings, as we reconnect to the world around us, I should say to nature around us, to the plants, to the animals, to humans, to ourselves, to all of the elements. It's asking of our presence. So, what does that even mean? Presence has, as I would describe it with words, is when we can show up moment to moment, aware of what is happening. And to do that, we have to accept what is happening because sometimes it doesn't feel good. Sometimes it's shitty. Sometimes it's painful. Sometimes it's chaotic. So it's accepting what is, not just the good parts, not just the bits that feel good, but just reality as it is. So that is for me is presence. How much can I show up with my senses alive in this moment to see and experience what actually is? And obviously, for each person, it's going to be different because it's through our own lens. But this is, I feel, when we call our energy home, we also clear up our senses so that we can experience the world with more clarity. And I know a lot of us are busy. I mean, I feel it. I feel like my days are full up. But actually, when I take a step back, I'm like, is it full up or am I just exhausting myself with thoughts or doing things that don't actually nourish me? So that is the question that I want to open with is it that you're doing too much if you're feeling depleted, exhausted, overwhelmed? Is it that you're doing too much? Or is it that you're not doing enough of what truly nourishes you, that fills up your cup? Just sit with that question for a moment and maybe the mind gives you an answer. Maybe the body responds like, oh, wow, that's a really great way to look at it. And maybe things come through and just notice what arrives with that question as you ask yourself. Is it that you're doing too much? Or is it that you're not doing enough of what truly nourishes you? And in this world where many of us are juggling different roles, where there's different external stresses and internal ones, where we are so aware of what is happening in our world through the news and through social media, it's no surprise that we always feel like we're plugged into something or that there's something to do. Because if there is a feeling in the body of danger or unsafety, then isn't safety a word? then our body is alert, our nervous system is alert. It's looking around, it's like, hello, is there a threat around here? Is there something that I need to do? So as long as we're existing, our nervous system is going to be responding and looking out and searching for ways in which that it can protect us. So whether it's that we are, focusing or pouring our life force into our work, our projects, our mothering duties, maybe we're taking care of other family members, our relationships, deadlines, solving random problems, whatever it is, just where we are being called to do something, it might be taking all of our energy, all of our life force. And when do we unplug? When do we pause? Does it ever happen? I know some of you will be thinking, no, I don't think it ever does. I think I'm just completely plugged in all the time. And my mind is always trying to fix or to solve or to prepare. And I get it. And I feel that, yeah, I live this too. And I'm trying so hard to make time for myself to be replenished because I know when my basic human needs are met, the simple ones, the sleep, the food, the water, the movement, when they're met, the world seems different. I feel different. I can show up in more presence. And it definitely is work. It definitely is practice to switch off. Because, like I just said, the nervous system is scanning around. Is there a threat? So we have to get to a point where we can communicate with ourselves to say, it's okay. We can have downtime. There is no threat to our life in this moment. And this takes practice and it takes trust with that inner voice and our body as well. So let's just think of the simple things in our lives. What nourishes us? See what comes through when you ask that question. What nourishes you? Can you hear my cat? My cat wants to come in. Should I let it in? 1 second. We got this little cat from Canada and we brought her all the way to Peru. She is so cute. She's not usually allowed in the house, but for this one, we'll let her come in. So, what nourishes you? If you want to, you can write this down, see what comes up. You might find there's nothing come through, but you might feel it. You might feel in your body the place that is asking for nourishment. It might feel more alive than the rest of your body. Well, let's just go through some simple things to see if this helps. Rest, sleep. You've probably heard it that women need a lot more sleep than men. And for many of us, it's the thing that, yeah, it can kind of just go out the window and there's so much to do, especially if our kids are really little. I don't feel like I've had a full night's sleep for 5 years. Actually, my daughter has, in this last 3 weeks, started to sleep all the way through, which is so nice. So I'm going to just bring that in because I am celebrating that. It doesn't feel real right now. So sleep, nourishment, hydration, movement, the movement our body wants, not just what we've been told to have. Play, these things, play is so important for humans to open connection to ourselves, to others. How much do we play and what does play mean? Maybe another way to say it would be creative expression. How about our relationships with the ones closest to us? How connected are we to the people in our lives, to the land that we're on, to ourselves? What are the things nourish us? Being in nature, plugging into our natural rhythm by being outside, by getting some sunlight, by being with the trees. How about being with the emotions and the feelings that are coming up? Because pushing them away can be really exhausting. It might feel like the right thing to do if emotion comes up, to push it away because it doesn't kind of fit into that moment. And I get that. But how can we make the space to be with it later on, to carve out some time to sit and to feel and be like, yeah, I noticed that a lot of anger came up, or jealousy, or grief came up in that moment, and it didn't feel right, or it didn't feel like there was space to hold it in that moment for whatever reason. How can we make that space in smaller moments just to be like, yeah, let me feel that, give it some time, give it the time that it deserves? Is there anything else that you can think of? I would love for you to share in the comments so that we can support each other through this. So let's think about now how we can become depleted. A really easy way to notice this is to run through your days. Like when you get to the end of your day and you look through, you go all the way back to the morning and you see the moments when you became exhausted or tired or overwhelmed or big emotions passed through. It might be the feeling of them, or it might be the action of them as they come through, or the words that come through. For example, if I am feeling depleted in any way, then I can start to have these feelings of wanting to run away or to think about a life that isn't this, and like to really push away anything that I'm grateful for. And this has happened recently to me, and the what I was missing was connection. The connection was missing with my partner. So I was fed, like I was sleeping good. I was all the things, moving my body. But the depletion was coming through the separation that I was feeling with my partner. And so when I focused on that, when I worked on repairing that, this feeling, these emotions, these thoughts, they all started to soften and almost dissolve. And I was looking at them through completely different eyes. And it's almost as though, like, how can I be hijacked so much with these ideas and these thoughts? And I just need to say that out loud because I need to remember for when it happens again to check in with my basic human needs before I make any rash decisions with it. And like at the time I'm like ready for it. I'm like, okay, if anything needs to be seen in my relationship, I'm gonna really look at it, whether it means as repairing or as taking another path. And I think comes with the honesty when we really honestly show up to see what is actually happening. So, some of the things I'm going to say about things that deplete me. So, as I mentioned, I noticed some things, but to be more specific, uh, distracting myself from my own emotions, from things that feel painful, from just these arisings that happen, distracting from them, denying them, basically saying that they're not welcome here. That is really draining for me. Staying constantly busy, filling my day with things, not giving any space for myself. Seeking approval might be another one, instead of being able to be ourselves fully, like trying to show up in a way that we think other people want us to show up. And it really is tiring on our body because we're forcing ourselves down a path that isn't free flowing for us. It's not our heart path. And then we have performing for others, again, being something that others want us to be, where it takes our energy. We create action from that. We respond to the world. We express in a way that isn't true for us. And so noticing this is the first part, like, oh, this doesn't feel true for me, or being around this group of people feels depleting for me, or these patterns or these habits are draining my energy. And it could also be things have been flowing through quite nicely, and then suddenly you're feeling depleted and overwhelmed. And it might be that the identity that you're attached to, you've outgrown, and you're being asked to transform, to open your wings into this new version or expression of yourself. So there's many ways that this can show up, but I think primarily it's just to notice and to accept and to be honest with, I'm feeling depleted in this part of my life. I'm feeling drained here. It might be, you can really pinpoint it, but it might be just, shifting your focus to a certain time of day, or when you're around a certain group of people, or when you are having a certain conversation, or when you do a certain action or habit. Just bring it in and notice, like, when whatever that is, you might not be able to pinpoint it, but something around there is depleting. And in that observation, in that witnessing, we put it in the center and we sit with it and we see what wants to be shown without having to rush. So, this is another thing that I found to be very important. When we realize there's something depleting or something draining us, there can be an urge to fix it, to fix the problem, to really just get to the roots of it. And I get it. But sometimes we can miss the roots of it, and we fix the surface level and we carry on with our lives. So this is slow and this takes patience, especially in these times. I don't know what's happening, but I'm noticing in myself. I'm tracking in my friend circles, with the community online. What is being asked of us is patience, to really look deeply at the topic of our lives that is draining and depleting us, because there is more to be seen. And if we sit and we stay with it and we witness and we really get into the roots of it, is going to deeply transform and evolve us. And I just want to do a note that there will be some people who are at risk and who are at danger within their relationships or within their habits, and this is for that needs specific care with that, because we need to make sure that the threats are perceived threats and not actual threats to our lives. Because sometimes it won't be about being patient, it will be about getting out of there because your life is in danger, or there is a threat of some kind. So when we really hold this question, what nourishes us, things will start to show themselves. But we have to be available to listen. So in our Thursday practice, we are going to share a practice to soothe the nervous system so that we can be as in an open state to observe, to make space. And then we are going to call our energy home so that we notice what it feels like to be replenished, to notice how within a few minutes we can shift the energy in our body. We can perceive us, our inner world, our outer world, completely different within a few moments of soothing and calling our energy home. And then we can start to ask the questions from that space of presence. What truly nourishes me? What have I been hungry for? What have I stopped making space for? What is one nourishing thing that I can say yes to this week? And what can I say no to? And then we listen, and then we notice. And if you've already passed when this Thursday circle will be, which is going to be, I'm just going to look for the date. So the 9th of July, 2026. I always put the recordings up in the space that I have, the app. So with my website, I get an app. And if you join the app, then you're going to also find all the previous recordings. So you can just search for this recording. I'll also put it down in the show notes as well once it's done. So you can go back to that practice as well. So I just wanted to come here today to be a reminder that these feelings of exhaustion, of overwhelm, they are really common in these times with how the world has been created to keep us constantly busy and to also brainwash us from such a young age to move and disconnect ourselves from our body so that we don't know our yes and we don't know our no anymore. So this is a journey back to ourselves. It is slow. We have to be patient. We have to create trust within our body so that we can truly listen. And once we get to that point, it is like then we're peeling back the layers and we get closer and closer to ourselves. And in these practices that I share on the Thursdays, we'll do a bunch of different ones throughout our time together so that you can find a practice that works for you. And it might work for you for a long time, and then suddenly it might not. And that's okay, because it's not about the practice being the thing. It is just a tool so that we can come into more presence. Because you know who knows what you need? Like, not me, not any book, not any doctor. Your body knows. So it's just listening and remembering the language of your body. And it's not that we're going to become someone new, we're just going to return back to ourselves and get back on that path of our heart. Come back into our authentic frequency. These are things that we already know, but we just haven't listened for a while. And there might be a bit of resistance with the ego as things will be changing or things will be adapting to serve you. That might not feel good for your ego. It might not even feel good for people in your life who are so used to you taking on a certain role and they have expectations. But this is really, I feel like these times are calling us in to our deepest, most honest relationship with others. So if people are not willing to accept you moment to moment as you evolve, as you return to yourself, these relationships are going to struggle to survive. And I really feel like this is the calling and the rising of humanity right now that we can participate in, and it starts with ourselves. So thank you so much for being here. Like I mentioned, I'm leaving everything in the show notes. If you want some private support, some of you may know my background as a qualified nurse turned holistic therapist, doula. I really work with now getting into the feeling, into the body, like everything we spoke about here, making space for that so that truth can rise up. I also do a lot of work with reclaiming different rites of passage. So the moments in our life when we've gone from the known to the unknown, for a lot of us, whether it's birth, a death, whether it's illness, a new job, divorce, whatever it is, then moments of transition. I know so many of us haven't been held through them, but we can reclaim them. We can go back, we can hold space for them. We can see if there's any gems, any wisdom that wants to come through for ourselves, for our community, for this time. We can go back and we can retrieve them together. So I'll leave that in the show notes as well. Reach out to me, come and connect. You're in the community spaces. Sending you so much love, and thank you for your patience with these episodes. And I love your feedback, so please let me know anything that comes up. Thank you so much. I'll speak to you soon.